Hello everyone! Recently I started to color in coloring books by Hanna Karlzon again, and because I have quite a solid amount of finished pages in her books, I thought why not to do a video about it? And I have to apologize because I have a sore throat, so my voice isn't at its best, but I will try to speak as clearly as possible. So here we are with my collection of Hanna's coloring books, and you will see everything I did or didn't in these coloring books. And some pages will be a nice reminder that with a passion and dedication you can achieve amazing things and progress. I will just add some more decorations like the fairy lights and gems, and we can start. The first coloring book I have here is Tales from the Forest Kingdom. And actually I didn't color anything in this book yet. I already chose some pages I would like to do, so hopefully there will also be some time for it. Meanwhile, let's look at some of the pages I picked. And as I'm browsing the book again, I see more pictures I would like to color. I usually prefer pictures with a large background because I just love using watercolors and oil pastels to create my own world around the illustration. Next coloring book is Tales from the Midnight Masquerade, and this was actually my first Hanna's coloring book. It was somewhere around February 2022. Of course, I have a few sticky notes here as well, so yeah, there are plans to color in this book more. And I remember that I used to like this coloring book the most. But you know, as the time flows, my preferences changed. And here I introduce you to Sunrise Lady. That's how I named this page. And it was the first page I colored in all of Hanna's coloring books. Another page I tried in this book was my attempt to use watercolors, and as you may see, it didn't end up very well. First, I had no idea what I'm doing, and second, I was using the cheapest watercolors from AliExpress. At that time, I had no idea that quality really matters if it comes to watercolors, and I thought that this medium is just not for me. However, as you will see, I couldn't be more wrong. In fact, it wasn't me, but the tool. And that's what I always say. Rather buy a smaller set of higher quality medium than a larger set for a small price but poor quality. Your future, whether you keep going to use the medium, often depends on the quality of the product. And here we move forward into my newest coloring book by Hanna. And I love the simple illustrations in it. And right the first page shows what I was saying at the beginning about creating my own world around the illustrations. There was practically nothing except the title and the stars, so I used the empty space to paint a piece of space. This picture was done fully with oil pastels, and if you are interested, I have a full narrated video on my Patreon. Here I was using watercolors for the background, and you may see the huge difference between the previous page I did with watercolors and didn't finish, and this one. Using better tools will allow you to express yourself more creatively and freely, because you don't have to fight the medium or the tool. Next page was done with new watercolors. Well, it was rather a Chinese paint, which is a little bit different than regular watercolors. And this Chinese paint is made rather for a rice paper, but I have to mention that I was buying the paint on Temu, so that could be an issue why it worked so bad. I cannot say if I have the original paint or not, so I ended up using white knights over this Chinese paint. And if you want to see the process, I have the video uploaded here on my channel. Here is another Tales book, and it's Tales from the Witch's Cottage. And this is currently my favorite coloring book by Hanna. On this first small picture, I was trying a new technique. Well, at that time it was new. And basically, I was trying to make the leaves glow. The process is actually very easy, very simple. And this page was just for practicing. But then I did a full tutorial with the same technique on this picture. And the tutorial is up on my Patreon. Actually, I have more pictures from Hanna's books on Patreon, so I will always show the logo on each page that is there. So I don't have to say always that it is on my Patreon or it is here on my YouTube. Here is another page on which I was using Nia colors too. And I don't use Nia colors that often. But when I'm looking at this page, I really think I could take them out again. Sometimes I'm just too lazy to prepare my watercolors, get the water bucket and everything around. But with Nia colors, you're actually good with only a water brush. Next, there is one unfinished page, which I wanted to do as a matching page with the picture on the left. So hopefully I will get back to it someone. And here is the page on the left, which I did as a tutorial for my channel. And I was using Holbein watercolors for the background and Prismacolors for the rest. It's not very common for me to use Holbein watercolors. I don't know, they are just too bright for me. But I'm very pleased with how the colors blended together. And of course, I had to add some shiny metallic decoration. Here is another watercolor page into which I added some clouds, and I was using masking fluid to get really nice and sharp edges like this. I was also experimenting with various colors. Of course, it ended up differently than I imagined, but I like the final result. This page is not my favorite, although I like the background. I don't like the smoke. I see that I overdid it a little bit. Even though the illustration showed the smoke in this way, like around the candle, and that would be okay, but I just did it too strong. So now you barely notice the candle, which I really liked how I did, but it's kind of lost in the picture. After the least favorite page, here we go with one or two of my top favorite pages. I used the same techniques and colors for both pages, so they match, and I'm just obsessed with glowing things. Just wait for the next pictures. Everything on this double page was so effective, yet easy to do. Now you can ask why I like to do matching pages. And my answer is so simple. It's beautiful and it saves so much time. Just imagine that you choose all the colors only once and you don't have to think about how to approach each page. You will just do both pages the same way. The last page in this book is the ghost page I did years ago for my Patreon, just to show some Halloween color combos. But now I have totally different idea. And I will probably end up covering those colored ghosts completely with black paint or something like that. My idea is to make something like a leak in the universe. So I already sketched some lines and I want to make a galaxy on top and bottom of the page and let some ghost showing in the middle. So yeah, I'm really curious how this will end up. Finally, the coloring book Magical Dawn, and the first page I did here is kind of funny. I didn't want the background like this, but somehow my hand painted this, and yeah, I was quite unhappy with how it went. So I was trying to make it better by using inks and soft pastels on top of the watercolors, but they didn't seem to help at all. But in the end, I like it, despite seeing a space for improvement. And speaking of improvement, here is a page I did ages ago. and I had no idea how I should blend the colors together. It was at times when I was fighting with watercolors, because I still believed that watercolors are very hard to use and that they are hardly manageable. You may guess that this mindset didn't make it easier, but I guess that we all have it at the beginning. The second page on this spread is a little bit more recent. I like the background, but I just cannot make myself to finish the cat. Even though I love cats, I just cannot go through. The same case is with this double page, which is also in progress like this for ages. And I just did an acrylic background and then I stopped liking the page, so I never get back into it and I will probably never finish it. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Oh, I remember that I was trying Nia colors on this page. I was using them for the background and it was at the beginning when I started to use them, so I had no idea what should I do. Also, as you can see, this palette isn't exactly what I would do now, but this is what we call progress, right? Now, get ready to see something really ugly. I remember doing the background for ages, and then when I did a wash on the birds and the decoration around, I totally lost the passion for finishing the page. Also, I think that it was for this double page that I accidentally deleted the whole footage. Anyway, let's look at something nicer. And here is a page I colored quite recently, and I really like how dramatic it is. And I cannot even count how many green and blue-green colors I used on this page. You know that I'm using various brands together, and I wasn't able to find the right color I wanted, so I switched the pencils again and again until I got this result. And here we go with a little bit different color palette than you usually see in my colorings, but I love it. And actually I want to do this type of backgrounds more because it's so simple, fun and beautiful. I just couldn't manage on this page to make both sides the same. So they are both different, but I don't think this is a big issue. And if you ever get lost in which colors go well together, then just use gold and you can mix it with any color you want and it will always look good. Oh, and by the way, gold color is just the combination of yellow and brown. So yeah, I just told you the secret. Hope you will not tell that I told you that. Anyway, I have a matching page for this. Well, I think I used different pencils, not exactly the same, but the color palette is the same, with only a slight difference in shades, but that's just a detail. And actually I was using polychromos, which I'm not used to use on the whole picture, but fortunately the result is fine. But I will probably go back to Prismas if I will do the whole page with only one pencil brand, which I do for the Patreon tutorials. Alright, and that's all I ever did in coloring books by Hanna Karlzon. I'm definitely not at the end, and I can't wait to bring you more and more pages from her books. For now, have a meowsome day and see you in the next video. Bye bye!